Let's cut the act. If you were abused, broken, and discarded like trash, and someone handed you the power to make it alright, would you really take the high road? Would you smile and forgive them? Or would you burn everything to the ground that they loved and laugh while they begged and make them feel every ounce of pain that they gave you? Because we cheered when John Wick killed 77 people over a dog, but suddenly it gets morally uncomfortable when a character like Kizaru flips the script on his abusers. Why? Because he's a man? Because his revenge is sexual? Or because deep down you know if you had the same power, you'd do the exact same thing, if not worse. Let's get into it. At their core, both Shield Hero and Redo Hero are tales of betrayal, social alienation, and the pursuit of retribution. Nafumi and Kizaru are falsely accused, Nafumi of assault and Kizaru of being useless and then subjugated to cruel exploitation. Society turned against both of them, robbing them of their autonomy. And in both cases, the protagonists of these stories went on a journey to reclaim their dignity, control, and some power through revenge. Kizaru doesn't snap. He wakes up. If your entire life was pain and suffering handed to you by others and someone gave you a reset button, would you really use it for mercy? Nafumi's revenge was social, not physical. He didn't went out to torture his enemies, but he did beat the system. He rebuilt his reputation and rose above the status quo. He grew stronger, gained loyal allies, and thrived in spite of the smear campaigns against him. He doesn't go dark in the extreme sense, but we're clearly meant to root for him as he proves them all wrong. But if you think polite revenge is the only acceptable kind, you're lying to yourself. Sometimes you don't want to rise above. Sometimes you want to make them suffer. Kizaru, on the other hand, chose a far more brutal path. Redo Healer dials up the edginess to 11, and it grotesque, graphic, and purposely shocking. But narratively, it's still revenge. He was raped, gagged, drugged, gaslit, and used by the king who saw him as disposable, because in their mind, being a healer is useless. His redo in this way of reversing fate and exacting revenge on those who violated him. He didn't become a monster. He became a mirror. You're uncomfortable because deep down, you get it. Because here's the thing, when Nafumi slapped back at those who wronged him, we called it empowering. When Kizaru does it, we call it degenerate. Both shows explore the trauma, dehumanization, and power reclamation within those stories. The only real difference is tone and delivery. Shield Hero plays its cards subtly and within genre conventions. Redo throws the cards off the table and sets them on fire, basically. If revenge has rules, then it's not revenge. It's PR. And sometimes, pain demands blood, not applause. Let's not kid ourselves. Shield Hero's popularity was garnered precisely because of the controversy. The rape allegation, the false rape allegation, the way it mirrored the real-world frustrations with cancel culture and mob mentality, that edginess was the appeal, at the time which it came out in 2016, right off of the back of the Me Too movement. Viewers wanted to see Nafumi rise from the ashes and show the world how it was wrong. But heaven forbid the victim be a man and the revenge be sexual. Suddenly it's a problem. This is about morality. It's about who's allowed to hurt back. Let's not forget ourselves. Keyaru's story is one of power reversal. What makes people uncomfortable is that it's flipped sexual violence on its head and makes the victim the avenger. And that's taboo. We are trained to sympathize with victims, but only if they don't make us uncomfortable. Once a victim starts to use the tools of their abusers, that's when the pearl clutching begins. You cheer for female revenge, but when it's a male revenge, why do you flinch? Because deep down you're afraid of what men could do if they stopped turning the other cheek. And let's keep it within the realms of what we're talking about here. In this fantasy world where magic is the aspect, magic has a say in which that hasn't even been regulated. Anyone with magic can be bad. Anyone with magic can be good. But the idea that if certain genders do things that other genders do back to each other and we're pearl clutching, what's the difference? Let's be honest, stories like Game of Thrones and Kill Bill are beloved for the exact same reason. Arya Stark kills a man with a face switch and bakes others into a pie. The bride rips through bodies for revenge, and yet we don't decry those tales as immoral. Why? Is it because they're artistically shot? Is it because they're Western? No, you're not mad at the method, you're mad at the gender. This isn't about ethics. It's about those who are allowed to get revenge and those who are not. Anime has always pushed boundaries, and Redo of Healer is no exception. But the core motivation, to get back at those who destroy your life, is deeply human. What Kizaru does is extreme, but it is also a distorted power fantasy. And let's forget, fiction is not an endorsement. Just because a story shows revenge doesn't mean it's encouraging real-life violence. It's like the tale as old as time that violent video games cause violent acts. Media does not create people. It does not shape how you think. It is simply a reflection of the collective consciousness of some groups. If it makes you squirm, good. That means it hit a nerve. Because if you were in his place, could you honestly say, if you had the power to stop people who were hurting you and get those revenge, and no one could stop you, would you really do any better? Nafumi is the safe version of a power fantasy. His journey involves internal growth, measured justice, and rebuilding trust. He gets a raccoon waifu and a squad of cute allies. It's revenge with a smile. Kizaru? He burns it all down. It's ugly, it's messy, it's rage-filled, but it's fictional catharsis. He literally makes one of his abusers into a slave that helps him along the journey of revenge to the others. While recruiting allies himself, he doesn't force himself on anyone who isn't one of his abusers. Everyone else he gained along the way was through his own merits, through him being who he truly was, as opposed to the man who was just out for revenge. He's not meant to be a hero. Your darkest thought made real. The part of you that whispers that what you would do if no one could stop you from seeking revenge. We cheer when Nafumi coldly stares down the nobles who scorned him. We love it when he wins in court, when he gains influence, when those who wronged him were made to grovel. That's not noble justice. It's revenge porn in a suit. Just because it's polite doesn't mean it's not the same dish served colder. You're addicted to aesthetics. If Keyaru wore a suit and kept his hands clean, you call him base. Kizaru serves his revenge bloody and raw. Yes, it's excessive, but isn't that the point? Isn't that what fiction is for? To explore the extremes we can't justify in real life? If we can handle Attack on Titan's genocidal themes and Death Note's God complex with the murder notebook, why do we draw the line at Redo of Healer? Is it too dark? Or is it too real? Fiction is the only place we're allowed to really break these rules, and Kizaru doesn't just break the rules, he burns the whole book. Some would argue Redo Healer crosses the line because of his sexual violence, but then why do we praise stories where women avenge their rape, but condemn the one where a man does the same? It's not about morality, it's about double standard. If we're okay with revenge, we can't cherry pick who gets to wield based on gender or tone. Kizaru didn't invent darkness, he simply lived through it, and when he got the chance, he answered with fire. We understand that collectively, we know the story is wrong on the surface matter of what happened to him, along with what he does to people. But it doesn't change the fact that we enjoy that story. We like revenge stories. There's been a few others that have come out in the years of different types of revenge stories, all centered around the main character being betrayed. And we literally live for that stuff. But why are we going to have such a pearl-clutching moment for a character who did the exact same thing as every other revenge story, did the same thing that happened to him to his abusers? And yes, Shield Hero is a more wholesome presentation of revenge, but it still derives off the same core principles of this fantasy. You were wrong, and now you get to win. The crowd gasps when you show up stronger. The doubters bow when you rise. It's power porn. If we love one, let's not act morally superior about the other. You want revenge that makes you feel good, not revenge that makes you reflect. What is real revenge? It's not clean. It's not tidy. It's terrifying, and that's why it's honest. Revenge, after all, is not about morality. It's about emotion. And the feeling of needing to flip the script, not feel powerless anymore. Whether it was Nafumi rising with honor or Kizaru riding with blood, they both scratch the same itch in different ways. One's a slow burn redemption arc. The other one's a raw nerve exposed, out the gate, getting back. But both are revenge stories, and we love those. You just hate Redo Healer because because it doesn't let you pretend you're better than other characters. It makes you look in the mirror and admit you want to hurt those who hurt you too, that you are truly human. So maybe, instead of clutching pearls at redo of healer, we should admit the truth. It's not that dark. It just shows the kind of vengeance that makes us squirm, but the mirror it holds up is no different than the ones held by Nafumi, Eren, Light Yagami, the list goes on. We cheer for vengeance, but we don't like to have the face behind it. Kizaru's not a monster. He's a fantasy you're not brave to admit that you have had. And that's why it really scares you. GG's, guys.
Stop what you're doing and listen.